As an entrepreneur, you cannot make decisions too fast. You have to take your own time, whether it is a labor staff, it is a nursing staff, or doctor. It is all known as a Wadia family. Stick to your goal, remain focused, and that is the purpose for which you are here today.
Hello and welcome to Promising Entrepreneur, the show where we celebrate the visionaries building scalable, sustainable, and purpose-driven enterprises that are redefining industries and impacting lives. I'm your host Pooja Jain, and today we're honored to feature a trailblazer whose work sits at the intersection of healthcare, business leadership, and social good. She's a healthcare leader, entrepreneur, and changemaker. Dr. Minnie Bodhanwala, CEO at Wadia Hospitals, Mumbai. Under her leadership, Wadia Hospitals has transformed into one of India's foremost healthcare institutions, especially in maternal and pediatric care, while championing community-driven healthcare initiatives. Dr. Minnie's journey is one of passion, resilience, and purpose, and today we're diving into her story. Dr. Minnie, thank you so much for taking the time to speak with us.
Thank you, Pooja.
Now, ma'am, for the benefit of our viewers and our listeners, I'm curious to understand what inspired you to pursue a career in healthcare, and how did your entrepreneurial instincts ultimately take shape within the hospital management environment, ma'am?
From when I was a kid or a child, you can say, I was always inspired by joining the medical profession. And I did join the medical profession, but once I joined the medical profession, I thought that, it's only making an impact on an individual.
Sure.
And a system change needs to be brought in. And when I thought of it at that point of time in India, there were very few healthcare entrepreneurs. So I thought of taking up healthcare along with my entrepreneur business management administration skills and moving ahead, because it was not about just individual care, but it was on the impact what we create on the healthcare environment. Today, a patient satisfied is not just what we are looking to. We are looking that the best of hospitals also, without a proper healthcare administration, cannot survive and sustain. And go through the environmental changes time to time, today which the healthcare is going at a fast pace.
Right. Well, ma'am, thank you for sharing that. And when we speak to successful entrepreneurs, oftentimes they cite a specific moment that acted as a turning point in their life, in their personal journey, or perhaps in their professional journey, that enabled them to realize the impact that they ultimately wanted to make. Was there any such moment for you?
Yeah, when I went to a rural hospital, what I saw was there were patients who were getting treatment. But what was missing or lacking was the accessibility as well as the quality care treatment. And that could not be without certain operational changes which would come in. Like as an example, logistics for them, medicine for them, reminding them that they are due for their next treatment, and all these things. And that is what made me see that no, this is something more in the healthcare than just giving treatment to a patient and patient satisfaction. And this is where I went around that I need to work on the healthcare systems to bring about a change where it is sustainable as well as growth is seen in the healthcare.
And ma'am, when you joined Wadia Hospitals, right, at the time, if you could walk us down memory lane for a moment, what were the challenges that you faced, and how did you go about overcoming them and addressing them in the first place?
Well, when I joined Wadia Hospital in 2012, that was the time the hospital was going through a rough phase. It was on the verge of a closure, and there were many things which you could see once you entered in. Like from outside you could not see, but once I entered in, and when I saw there were many things which were lacking, like infrastructure, financial stability, as well as motivation to the staff. These were the things which I found I would work around. And yes, it did take me time. These were the great challenges, and I did work around all these challenges because all were interconnected to each other. If I needed the hospital to grow, I needed the financial support, I need the infrastructure, whether you call it man, machine, whatever it was, and to work around in making, the staff who were there in a very emotional way, to get them to work in the way we wanted them for the betterment of the hospital and for better patient care, as well as satisfying also and motivating themselves.
Well, I'm curious to know, given the challenges that lied ahead of you, right? Did you hold firm to the belief that you had the ability to transform the institution, or were you ever daunted by that very same challenge?
Yes, I always have the ability, and I am self-confident of myself and my abilities, and I'm known to handle challenges. So when I entered Wadia Hospital, yes, it did take me a little time, but after analyzing the structure of the hospital and how I could strategically work around it, was what actually gave me the inclination to go around and do things.
All right, ma'am. And Wadia Hospital is a particularly interesting case in that you straddle both medical excellence, right, along with a social impact, right, by way of healthcare that is affordable and healthcare that is accessible. How challenging is it to strike that balance? Because you've got operational sustainability on the one hand, but the desire to give back on the other.
When actually I joined, Wadia Hospital brand name itself was not there so much, apart from the medical treatment. And with things coming out of unpleasantness of the workers and all, there was a lot of negative publicity. I had to first build up the brand image of this hospital and then work on the sustainability and CSR, because at that time CSR was very new. And CSR donations, as we call it, for the underprivileged who we treat. Wadia Hospital basically treats the underprivileged mothers and child. And Wadia Hospital is known for its medical treatment, and today it's one of the best in the world for pediatrics. So, I had to build up each and everything, and there were so many cases which Wadia Hospital was doing, which nowhere else nobody was doing. So I had to highlight, build up the brand image, and then see that I got the CSR funding for the equipment, infrastructure, what was needed to enhance the quality and sustainability of this hospital, because sustainability was a question.
Innovation, in all realms is very difficult, but particularly so when you're talking about a healthcare ecosystem. So could you walk us through some examples of how you, as a healthcare leader, or your team perhaps pivoted in an effort to improve healthcare outcomes and patient outcomes?
Innovation, we started first by trying out AI and other methods, like decreasing the waiting time, decreasing the discharge time for patients. And yes, there was a resistance from the staff, but we got them to understand that if we do this via AI, it saves them also from their work time, and we have more patients who we can attend to. So via AI technology, we used these systems, and also using telemedicines, because we are the center of excellence for pediatric care. So we use the telemedicine to reach out to the doctors in the rural areas and reach out to treatments which can be done via telemedicine there itself.
Now, when we talk to entrepreneurs, oftentimes it's the success that takes the spotlight, right? And not necessarily the failures along the way. So perhaps you could walk us through some disappointing experiences from which you've derived valuable lessons as an entrepreneur.
See, as an entrepreneur, one thing was that you cannot make decisions too fast. You have to take your own time to make the decisions, and you have to take the team along with you. You need to have a very good communication and an open communication with the teams which are working with you, as well as with the patients and other stakeholders. So this is where I found that being resilient and taking our time to think through any decisions which need to be taken in the critical hour. And the most important is to remain cool, not to get aggrieved or agitated by anything what happens, to keep our ground, remain cool, and take our decisions, because sometimes when we are not cool, we take the wrong decision at the wrong time, which can harm the institute.
And ma'am, in particularly difficult times for the healthcare world, such as the pandemic, for example, or in times of financial strain for the hospital or operational strain for the hospital, what are some of the leadership values that typically guide your decision making in that scenario?
See, when we had actually around 2013 May, where we did not have the financial stability, still we got a pair of conjoined twins, which are Riddhi and Siddhi, who are with us still today in the hospital.
Phenomenal.
And yes, we managed to get the grafts for them, separated them, and even their parents, left them abandoned and went off, but still the hospital staff is supporting. So that was the first challenge I think I faced in my career after joining within 1 year. The next challenge, of course, everybody knows, in 2019, the COVID pandemic, where we had to immediately change into a COVID hospital. But yes, we ran the COVID as well as the normal patients. We were the only hospital in whole of Maharashtra who were running both COVID as well as the non-COVID at the same time. And in that, it was also challenging, to have the staff motivated, because that was the staff, which were going to be 24 hours on ground. And to motivate them, because they had pressures from their own family also, that, supposing you get COVID, what will happen to us? So that motivational support, and as a family, keeping the staff together. Basically at Wadia Hospital, whether it is a labor staff, it is a nursing staff or doctor, it is all known as a Wadia family. And I think as a family, we are able to fight all the crises together.
And then for entrepreneurs, both within and outside of the healthcare ecosystem, words of advice that they often receive is create a purpose-driven enterprise, a purpose-driven organization. Find your purpose. But it's all easier said than done. So what might your words of wisdom be for other entrepreneurs out there that are struggling to find that purpose and find their footing in this space?
Well, to answer this question, to help the entrepreneurs, I have my own biography which has come out, which addresses all these, and that is known as Defying Conventions, because I have defined most of the conventions, and yes, with a stable mind have been stable to my goal, and I have reached my goal. It is that yes, there are deviations, linears which come in, but don't get deviated with the linears which are coming in. Stick to your goal, remain focused, and that is the purpose for which you are here today.
And ma'am, what's your vision for India's healthcare system? Specifically, if we could focus on maternal health and child healthcare in particular, what needs to be done and how do we get there?
Maternal and child health is something where really every country needs to focus, and that is the base of healthcare. If we see that a mother is healthy, we see that the child is also healthy. First of all, it starts right from the days when a mother is, in the primitive stages or an adolescent stage, to see that a mother is very healthy. And that is the right of every girl or a mother. And as a child, yes, it is a right of the child also to get the service.
All right, and ma'am, by way of closing comments, as an entrepreneur in this space, straddling both worlds, right? As I mentioned earlier, the business side of things, the social impact side of things, you've covered it all. If you had to distill your entrepreneurial philosophy or management mantra down to a single sentence, what might that be?
That could be make with a heart, lead with something you have in mind to reach your goal, and study the impact by the lives you have uplifted.
Beautiful. Dr. Minnie's journey is a testament of how leadership, driven by empathy and entrepreneurship, can truly transform lives and institutions. Thank you so much for sharing a piece of your journey with us.
Thank you.
And to our listeners, stay tuned for more such inspiring conversations with leaders reshaping India's business landscape. Until next time, I'm Pooja Jain, signing off.
If you like this video, then like, share and subscribe to ET Now.